Okay. Okay. Dah. Okay. Ready? Buat live ni. Nak speaker ni ke? Kembali start. Dia yang start awal dia kan. Okay, ready? Handphone silent. Go to live. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Sabahul khair. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Allahumma shalli ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala Alright. Before we proceed with our session, shall we recite the Ummul Kitab? Yeah, I think I have to get used to wearing this helmet. Not helmet, it's a visor. Okay. Alright. Before we proceed, let me acknowledge our guest here, respected our dear Prof. Muhammad Kamal Hassan, Madam Hafsah Yusof, I believe she's online, Director of Staff, IIUM Senior Official, and our beloved students, our new students, Ahlan wa Sahlan. I am Zurina binti Abdul Ghani, your moderator for today. I am actually your super duper senior. I've been in IIUM since 1990. So perhaps you can guess my age. Right? Okay. Before I hand over the session to our respected Prof, okay, please post your question online, and I have to stop at 10:15 because Prof Kamal has another meeting at 10:30, right? So to allow him to go back to his office. Yes. All right. Let me introduce our distinguished speaker today. Prof. Yeah, very brief. Prof Kamal. No, because I have to. Sorry. Oh, okay. Yeah. I have to introduce Prof because we owe him mountains because he's actually the one who prepared the proposal paper for the university establishment in 1983, right? In order for us to present in the OIC conference in Makkah. And then he was our former rector, okay, and presently he is now the advisor for Center for Islamization. Okay. So without further ado, I'll pass the screen to Prof. Right?
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. Dr. Gurina, the moderator of this session, Madam Hafsa, officers, senior officers of the university, members of the organizing committee, and my dear new students of IIUM. Alhamdulillah, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for it is by His grace and mercy that we're all able to be here today. We have to always be grateful to Allah. Allah reminds us to always think of all the bounties that Allah has showered upon us. And one of the greatest bounties is the bounty of Islam. But another bounty is to be able to become a student of IIUM. This is another great ni'mah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a great favor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this university welcomes you as a new student and as one of the, I would say, I am a permanent member of this university. I welcome you to this institution and hope that by the time you graduate from this university, you become a great, competent, and God-fearing leader of the Muslim Ummah and also of humanity with the knowledge that you acquire from here, the skills that you have learned, the wisdom that you have gathered from your teachers, and the values that you have internalized within you while you are studying in this university. So we always look forward to our students as the leaders of the future. And in today's world, in this era of uncertainties and crisis, we really need new breed of leaders who are inspired by the values of Islam. Okay, now I am going to speak to you on philosophy, vision, and mission. These are three important things in the university. In fact, the university is built upon these foundations. The first foundation is philosophy, and the second is vision, and the third is mission. So these foundations are very, very important. And if you are studying in this university and you do not know the foundations of this university, then you have missed a lot. Because our university is not the same as other universities. Many other public universities in Malaysia were established as a Malaysian university. But we were established not as a Malaysian university, but as a global ummatic university, which is established in Malaysia. So it is not a Malaysian university as such. It is an ummatic, global, international university from day one. And we have a noble mission which I'll share with you in a moment. We have a great vision, and we have the philosophy of knowledge, which is taken from divine revelation, from the Quran itself. Now, these three concepts, philosophy, vision, and mission, are found in the constitution of the university. I hope one of these days you'll get to see the constitution. It is also available online so that you know what the university is all about, especially the first, say, the first 15 pages. You can leave the rest, forget about the rest, because are all details of rules and regulations. But in the first 10, 15 pages, you will have the philosophy, vision, and mission. Okay, now let me go to the philosophy. Now, it's stated here that the university shall be guided by the philosophy and principles which shall include the following. And there are 7 or 8 statements or principles that I'll share with you. But I will highlight the most important things because it's not easy for you to remember all the 8 principles. The first is that the surah Al-Alaq, verses 1 to 5, are very, very essential for all of you to understand. Okay, we'll go over that after this. And then number 2, the acceptance of Tawheed. Tawheed means the unicity, the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or affirming the oneness of God. And so we have to accept that. And that is one of the most important pillars of Islamic faith. I would say that's the pillar of Islamic faith, of Tawheed, Iman. And the third is that the ultimate source of knowledge is the acceptance of Allah as the creator and master of mankind. So Allah is the source of knowledge, all right, and the source of wisdom. And we have to remember that. But if you are coming into a secular university, then you source of knowledge is the mind, is the intellect, is reason, not God. But in Islamic university, we tell the truth is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the source of knowledge, and reason is actually given by God in order to help us to develop the world based on His guidance and His revelation. And the fourth is advancement of knowledge is an amana. So you carry a great trust, and that trust is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, then we go to the next one. Knowledge shall be utilized by mankind as a servant and vicegerent or Khalifa of Allah on earth in accordance with the will of Allah. So knowledge that you get from this university is not just going to be used any way you like. It has to be used as a form of servitude to Allah, servanthood to Allah, and vicegerency of the world. That is to say, you are supposed to be the stewards of the world, of the earth, in accordance with the will of Allah, not in accordance with your will or your parents' will or your country's will, but in accordance with the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the quest for knowledge is a form of ibadah. Ibadah means worship, and you are supposed to pray 5 times a day and fast once a year, and then pay zakah and or go to Hajj if you can. Those are the fundamental religious obligations. But quest for knowledge is also ibadah in the larger sense of the word. And then the last one states that university shall be Islamic and international in character. It doesn't say that university has to be Malaysian in character. Yeah? It is Islamic, international in character, or ummatic in character. Okay. Now, this Surah Al-Alaq is very, very important. First of all, the first 5 verses were the first verses revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the first words of Allah to be heard in the Arab Peninsula was اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. Those are the first divine words which were revealed to the Prophet, and those words, those 5 words plus the other 2, I would say 3 more verses, have great implication on your life as a student. All right, because the first one says "Iqra," meaning read, recite, but you recite not in your name, not in the name of your father, not in the name of the rector of the university, not in the name of your dean, but in the name of your Lord who created you. So bear that in mind. So throughout your life, and not just here, whenever you want to seek knowledge in His name, not in your name. All right, because knowledge comes from Him, and wisdom also comes from Him, and then you want Him to protect you, you want Him to give a barakah, blessing to you. Therefore, you must always invoke the name of the Creator, because without Him, you're not going to exist. Without Him, there's not going to be any knowledge. So, اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. All right, and then خلق الإنسان من علق. He created mankind from a clot. So Allah reminds us that you may be a PhD student, you may be a professor, but you originated from a humble clot, like a leech. But of course, you cannot see it in the womb of the mother. But anyway, and many other verses of the Quran, Allah tells you that you are created from a very low material origin, from clay, and then from this water liquid, and so you have no right to be arrogant in the world. You have no right to walk around with pride in your life, because you are actually of a very low material origin, but your spiritual essence is of the highest kind, and that is the ruh from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah repeats, that second time is He reminds us to read and seek knowledge. وَرَبُّكَ الْأَكْرَمُ, remembering that Allah is the most generous. So your ability to gather knowledge comes from the generosity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and therefore you should also be generous with your knowledge and with your wisdom. And then Allah tells us, الَّذِي عَلَّمَ بِالْقَلَمِ, that is to say, Allah taught human beings the use of the pen. That is the means to gain knowledge, to accumulate knowledge, to spread knowledge. But in today's world, we don't use the pen anymore, so we use the computer to gather knowledge, to accumulate, to spread, and unfortunately also to corrupt knowledge. And there's a lot of corruption in the internet. So we have to be very careful about that. And then, عَلَّمَ الْإِنسَانَ مَا لَمْ يَعْلَمْ, Allah reminds us that Allah taught mankind what He did not know. All right? So we came into this world without knowledge, but Allah is the one who provides the knowledge. So we must be grateful to Him all the time, and we should not forget that He is the one who taught us knowledge and how to be wise. Now Allah tells us in the next verse, verse number 6, كَلَّا إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَيَطْغَى. Nay, indeed, human beings tend to transgress the limit. Okay, so Allah is telling us, reminding us that despite all this goodness and favors and bounties, that Allah has granted upon us, we tend to be ungrateful. We tend to be rebellious. We tend to be forgetful. We tend to be heedless. We tend to be arrogant. We tend to be proud. We tend to be selfish. We tend to be individualistic. And these are different ways by which we transgress. لا يطغى طغيان. So كلا إن الإنسان لا يطغى. Verily, man does transgress all bounds in disbelief and in evil deed. And then why did human beings become rebellious? Why do we become forgetful? Why do we become arrogant? Why do we become selfish, self-centered, individualistic, proud? Why? أَرَّآهُ اسْتَغْنَى. Because human beings believe, think, and consider himself or herself to be self-reliant, to be self-sufficient. In other words, you don't need anybody to help you. Just because you have your reason, you think you can create knowledge, discover knowledge, and become a great scholar without anybody's help. And that is istighna. That is feeling of self-sufficiency, which is actually one of the ways for self-destruction. You know, if you feel that you are self-sufficient, that is a sign you are destroying yourself. And finally, inna ila rabbika ruj'a. Allah tells us that you are going to return to me ultimately. Whatever you are, whatever you do, wherever you may be, however great you are, however powerful you are, however affluent you may be, and however influential you are in this world, you are going to return to me, and you are going to be accountable for how you gather the knowledge, how you use the knowledge, how you distribute knowledge, and how you use your profession in whatever field that you choose to go into after studying here. Okay, so that is in brief the philosophy. And then I come to the vision. All right, vision is where you want to go ultimately. That is the ultimate goal of this university. And it says here that the university aims at, of course, I leave the first part, inspired by the worldview of Tawheed and the Islamic philosophy of the knowledge, of the unity of knowledge, as well as its concept of holistic education. There should be a comma after education. The university aims at becoming a leading international center of excellence. So we want to be first center of excellence in education, research, and innovation. And with that, we want to restore or regenerate, revive the dynamic and progressive role of the Muslim Ummah in all branches of knowledge. Remember that the Islamic civilization for 1,000 years was the leading civilization in the world from the 8th century until about, let's say, the 16th century. Okay, that's the vision. That's where you want to go. Now, how to get there? So we have 7 steps, yeah? 7 strategies to get to that goal. And these are called mission. And there are 7 mission statements. Let me get some water. Okay. All right, now, mission number 1, to undertake the special and greatly needed task of reforming the contemporary Muslim mentality and integrating Islamic review knowledge and human sciences in a positive manner. Okay, now just don't worry about the wording. Just think of the word integration. So the first mission is how to integrate human reason with divine revelation. Yeah, human reason as being employed in the social sciences and humanities and and other sciences, and divine revelation as contained in the Quran. So we want to integrate. One of the ways to achieve that goal, one strategy is integration. Okay, that is integration of knowledge, of human knowledge, which is okay. The second mission, the second strategy, the second step to lead us to the goal of becoming a center of excellence, which seeks to restore the progressive role of the Muslim Ummah in all branches of knowledge, is to produce better quality intellectuals, professionals, and scholars by integrating the qualities of Iman, that is faith, knowledge, good character, akhlaq, to serve as agents of comprehensive and balanced progress, as well as sustainable development in Malaysia and in the Muslim world. So this is quite full. First of all, mission 2, we're saying that we need to bring together Iman, Ilm, and Akhlaq. Yeah? In some institutions, they only worry about knowledge. In our case, knowledge alone is not enough. It must be imbued with Iman in Allah, and it must also be manifested in good character. So character, faith, and knowledge must be combined in our university. And what is this for? Is to promote progress and sustainable development. Now, this was written in 1995, way before United Nations in 2015 came up with 2030 agenda of sustainability, development, sustainability of, or development, sustainability development goals, SDG, with that 17 goals, right? Sustainable development goals. And we already foresaw that in 1995, that the way economic development is progressing in the world, it's going to destroy the earth, all right? So we said that we need to combine Iman, faith, knowledge, and character so that we can have development which is sustainable. Otherwise, the development is going to be destructive. And we have seen so many destruction, including also the environmental degradation, climate change, biodiversity, extinction of species, and the poisoning of water, pollution of air, and so on. Why? Because development, not in the name of God, but in the name of material progress, without Iman, without character. And so for us, sustainable development, in order to be sustainable, must include Iman, character, and knowledge. All right. Now we go to mission number 3, to promote the concept of Islamization of human knowledge. Now, this is a very important mission, very important strategy in this university. We are among the few universities in the world which has this mission. Why? Because we know that human knowledge without divine guidance can also mislead humanity. Look at what economics has done. You know, the knowledge of economics, or the knowledge of psychology, of the human self, or the knowledge of society in sociology, or the knowledge of politics in political science. Where have all this knowledge brought us? It has given us 2 world wars, and now we are ready for nuclear war. We are our economic development is destroying nature. So human knowledge is not infallible. Infallible meaning without error, without mistake. Human knowledge is fallible. Human knowledge is not divine knowledge. Divine knowledge, knowledge of God, is absolutely infallible. But human knowledge, you have sometimes it's good, sometimes not good. And when it is without divine guidance, it will lead you astray. And the modern world has been led astray in economics, in politics, in education, in culture, in communication, and in many other areas of human development. So we need to Islamicize the human knowledge. We need to bring back Iman, Akhlaq, revelation to guide human reason so that we will produce another kind of civilization which we had in Spain. Muslims were there for 800 years in Spain, and it introduced science, technology to Europe. So the European Renaissance was actually based on and derived from the civilization, the scientific and technological civilization of the Muslims in Andalusia or Islamic Spain. All right, we go to number 4. I go very fast now because I don't have much time. Number 4 is to nurture the quality of holistic excellence imbued with Islamic moral spiritual values. Here we're talking about holistic excellence. So excellence is not just intellectual or academic. So you need to be excellent socially, you need to be excellent emotionally, you need to be excellent environmentally, ecologically, culturally, spiritually, and so on. And vision number 5 is to exemplify an international community of dedicated intellectuals, scholars, professionals, motivated by the Islamic worldview and code of ethics as the integral part of their work culture. So in other words, our university will have a community of scholars, scholars who have a code of ethics based, of course, on the Islamic teachings and Islamic worldview. And so we are guided by ethics and ethics of the academic, ethics of the administrator, ethics of the student. And so we have codes of ethics for all. And when you go to the mahallas later on, you'll be shown the ethics also that you need to observe while you are staying in the university mahalla. Okay, now mission number 6 is to enhance intercultural understanding and foster civilizational dialogue in Malaysia. So we believe in dialogue, not conflict. We do not share the view of Samuel Huntington when he came out with his dogma or doctrine of clash of civilization. We believe in dialogue. We believe in cooperation. We believe in working together for the sake of goodness, even with our non-Muslim friends or brothers and sisters. So we believe in this peaceful coexistence or التعايش السلمي بين الحضارات, between civilizations. Okay, now mission number 7, to develop an environment which instills commitment for lifelong learning and deep sense of social responsibility among students. So our learning is not just here, it's going to be lifelong. We are going to be a student until the end, but having the sense of social responsibility. Community development has to be part of our job, of our mission. Okay, and then it says that the mission statement can be summarized as follows: integration, Islamization, internationalization, comprehensive excellence, or triple I's, IIICE: integration, Islamization, internationalization, and comprehensive excellence. So that's it from me, very brief. I'm sorry, I hope I have not put you to sleep, although you are free to sleep. But by now, please wake up. It's time to ask questions. Even you have been sleeping, no problem. Post your questions. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Prof. I only have so far one question from the YouTube chat.
How come everybody is asleep?
Two questions. Okay, all right. Okay, the first one is hold on. Okay, from Nur Asia. Okay. Assalamualaikum, Prof. As a student, how to be balanced in both academics and deen? So she wants your
Okay. Next one.
view how to become a balanced student. Because sometimes they tend to focus more on study and they lack in doing the ibadah and all. Right. The next
Second
one. Assalamualaikum, Prof. IIUM mission may be never ending as long as knowledge continues to evolve. If so, what are some IIUM short-term goals to show progress towards accomplishing this mission? Maybe you can address that first.
Okay, thank you very much. First, Sister Nur Asya, very good question. How do you balance between the demands of Islam, of religion, and the demands of the academia or your programs of study? You must, of course, strike a balance. You can't be giving too much attention to religious obligations and responsibilities at the expense of your studies, because you are here to get knowledge and to be trained as a leader. But you get knowledge without being divorced from religion. Okay, so one thing is you must be performing the pillars of Islam. That is something that you cannot neglect, particularly as-salah. So, however busy you may be, you must never leave your prayer. Okay, that's the first thing. Sometimes you say, I'm too busy, I have so many things, I don't want to pray. That's not acceptable. All right. In fact, the more you pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more He will help you to lighten your burden, inshallah. Okay, so that's one. And then second is your akhlaq, your character must be based on the Islamic teachings. تخلقوا بأخلاق الله. Acquire within you the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So your akhlaq, your conduct, your character, your relationship with people, with your teachers, with the environment, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has to be derived from the teachings of Islam. And remembrance of Allah. Because Allah says in the Quran, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, يا أيها الذين آمنوا اذكروا الله ذكرا كثيرا. O you who believe, remember Allah a lot. Huh? Remember Allah a lot. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اذكروا الله ذكرا كثيرا. And then Allah also says, الذين آمنوا أشد حبا لله. The people who believe in Allah has the greatest love for Allah. So while you are a student doesn't mean you cannot love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But loving Allah doesn't mean you have to be in the mosque all the time. No. You be in the mosque for the prayers if you can. Otherwise, you can love Allah in many ways. Right? And remembering Allah, you don't have to be carrying your masbahah or tasbih. You remember in your heart. And remembrance of Allah when you read the Quran, when you pray, when you have usrah. Those are also manifestations of dhikrullah, remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? So don't worry about, don't go to extreme in your religious responsibilities. You have to do them the minimum, the five. Of course, you cannot go to Hajj during your study. But if you have a lot of money, you have to pay your zakah, also sadaqah. But the fasting in Ramadan, and then read the Quran every day, 10 ayat. No, if you cannot make 10 ayat, 5 ayat. اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم كلا إن الإنسان ليطغى أن رآه استغنى إن إلى ربك الرجعى. Because even if you say that every day the same thing, okay, قل والله, the three قل, but you cannot leave the Quran even for one day. Okay, so zikrullah, please, salat, and then read the Quran. 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, but never leave the Quran. Okay, now we go to and also if you have the time, be active in the NGOs, and the IIUM is rich in the community development clubs and associations. So join them. Okay, number two, mission. Our mission is never ending, and we evolve. What are the short-term goals? Well, short-term goal number one is we say we want to be an international university. We already achieved that. We are international university. We use Arabic and English as official language instructions. We have students from 100 countries in the world, but of course now because of COVID, things slowed down a bit. But we are really an international university. We have not achieved comprehensive excellence, but our academic programs are among the best in the world. Our teachers are among the best in the world. We have facilities, not necessarily the best. We're not as advanced technologically as in some Western countries, but very soon we should be able to achieve that. But more importantly is that we are not producing robots for the market. We're not producing people who are going to be just serving the capitalist market. We are producing leaders with good character, with good knowledge, with good akhlaq. Okay, so then another thing is to be good to the environment. Sustainability also means that we, as a servant of Allah, must take good care of our environment, the human and the non-human part of the environment. And Alhamdulillah, in our university now, the new rector, Country Professor Zulkifli Abdul Razak, introduced the sustainability objectives of the university, and Alhamdulillah, now university is now one of the regional education centers, education for sustainable development universities in the world. So it's among one of the 180 or so universities in the world. And so we represent the Greater Gombak. And our concern for the environment has earned IIUM the first place as one of the universities under United Nations. So we became the first university to be recognized as giving the greatest attention to the environment. So these are among the short-term goals. And when it comes to civilizational dialogue, our university, Alhamdulillah, the students have been very active. We have had so many dialogues on campus, Muslims and non-Muslims, inter-religious dialogue going on. And we also go into the communities and help the communities. Alhamdulillah, so these are among some of the short-term goals. The long-term, of course, is to revive, restore, regenerate the holistic Islamic civilization, which will be good not just for the Muslims, but for the world, which is now in a very wretched condition. Okay, that's about it.
There's one student, Aisha Imran. Okay, she's an international student. right? She
From where?
asked, Aisha, can you type here? You're from where? Okay. But I will post the question first, yeah? Assalamualaikum, sir. Being an international student, it feels great to join IIUM, but culture difference becomes a huge gap. How to overcome it?
Okay, good. Now, culture difference or cultural differences is something that we have to expect in an international environment. Wherever you go internationally, you will have this situation. But it should not really be a problem in Malaysia because Malaysia, as you know, is multicultural, multi-religious, multi-ethnic. We have at least in West Malaysia three main communities: Malays, Chinese, Indian, Sikhs, or four, and then we have also the indigenous people. In Sabah, Sarawak, you have many indigenous tribes there: Kadazan, Murut, Iban, Dayak, and so on. I hope one day Sister Aisha will be able to go to Sabah and Sarawak and to see the other side of Malaysia. But the Malaysian people, ever since for the last 1,000 years or so, because we are in a peninsula and in the archipelago, which is in between China and India, China and also the Arab world. So our people are used to seeing foreigners. So we respect them, we accommodate them. So the Malay people are known to be very gentle. And the British call these are the nature's gentlemen. The British call the Malays nature's gentlemen, gentlemen of nature. And so you should not feel any problems with the Malay people because we are used to seeing foreigners. Malacca, when it was the greatest port in this part of the world, had 90 languages spoken in Malacca during the Empire of Malacca. So try to pick up some languages. The food is the plurality of dishes in Malaysia is something that you should really be grateful. Whatever you want, you can find it, and it's quite reasonable, especially on campus. Outside, it's a bit pricey. If you go to restaurants and special restaurants, things could be pricey. But there are places where you can get good food. And for instance, you have so many mamak restaurants all over the country, so you can get fast food, good, cheap food. So you should try roti canai, martabak, and so on. And or nasi goreng Singapore, nasi goreng Bangkok, nasi goreng Pasir Mas or whatever. Nasi goreng you have 10 types or 20 types of nasi goreng. So the dress, stick to your dress. You don't have to follow Malay dress or Chinese dress. Where are you from, sister?
She's from India.
Okay. So you can have your sari, just don't show the middle part. Okay.
All right.
Okay. So, yes, sir. Yeah, okay.
Okay, Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Waalaikumsalam.
Okay, after hearing the vision, mission, and philosophy, then it is understandable why IUM is doing certain things to make it in line with our own vision and mission, right? However, for the new students, I think what is the effect or I think the consequence of not subscribing to such philosophy, IUM vision, mission of the university? Is it going to be some personal effect or some effect in the future effect? Because I think this problem is also currently facing by the current student also, and it is good for the new students to realize this. Thank you,
Okay.
Prof.
Very good question from our leader here. What are the consequences if you do not really observe the philosophy, you do not respect the philosophy, you do not follow the mission, you do not subscribe to the mission, you do not believe in the vision. You do not want to follow the rules and regulations. You just want to take your degree from IIUM because our degree is marketable. It has a good value in the market, but you don't want to lead the life of a Muslim in the true sense of the word. So the loss is yours. It's not the university, because Allah puts you here for 4 years at least, or 6 years if you go to the pre-university in Gambang, to get not just knowledge, not just a degree, but the values, the ethics, the wisdom, the akhlaq, the social interaction with people from all over the world, which you cannot get in your kampong, you cannot get in your town. But you come here and you see people speaking different languages, dressed different ways, and so on. But more importantly, knowledge which is given here is based on iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in other words, you come out of the university becoming a better servant of God, not a better servant of the American dollar, or servant of power, or servant of money, servant of politics, servant of industry. You are going to be a very good servant of Allah. And being a servant of Allah in the good sense, you are an asset to the whole of humanity because your akhlaq is good. All right? Akhlaq is good. Your relationship with the environment is good. Your relationship with people is good. Your relationship with Allah is good. And your knowledge is useful. Okay? So if you do not have, if you do not subscribe, or you don't want to know, or you're ignorant, you don't care about the philosophy, about the mission, about the vision, then you are just going to be a robot. And you may be a worse human being after you graduate, because you will, once you leave the university, you will be swimming in the realities of the world, wherever you may be. And the current will be so strong, pulling you away from God, away from Islam, away from Salah, away from the Ummah, towards worldly glory, power, and affluence, and status, and all that. So you are going to lose. So I hope you will take this seriously. For philosophy, learn Surah Al-Alaq, verses 1 to 8, not 1 to 5, but 1 to 8, because the 8th one is Inna ila rabbika ruj'a. You are going to return to him. And the first one is seek knowledge in the name of your creator. Iqra there is not just read. Seek knowledge, pursue knowledge, learn, distribute, acquire wisdom, knowledge in the name of your creator. All right? That, if you remember that in the 4 years, to me that's good enough, because the implication of this Rabbika alladhi is great in your life, in your culture, in your profession, in your economy, in your family. It begins with Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. That's how the life of the Prophet ﷺ was enriched, with Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. There's so much to learn, all right? So much to acquire, and you build yourself with knowledge, with wisdom, but in the name of your creator. So your knowledge is blessed by God, your wisdom is blessed by God, your profession is blessed by God, all right? Your family is blessed by God, your work is blessed by God. And when you have the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then inshallah we will return to Allah in a good way. In ila rabbika ruj'a. We hope you will all return to Allah. يَوْمَ لَا يَنْفَعُ مَالٌ وَلَا بَنُونَ إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. On the day when your wealth and your children are of no avail, but you return to Him with a sound and a clean heart. Your knowledge, yes, but um, your heart is more important. Okay, so we want to return to Him with sound and clean heart. Okay, inshallah, we hope all of you will be successful. Sorry, we cannot spend more time because I have another program at 10:30, inshallah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. I'm so sorry. I know there's more questions, right? I have communicated with Madam Nurul Ain, and the Secretariat will record all the questions and we will get back to you, inshallah. Right? Thank you, Prof, and thank you all. And again, we wish everyone, all of you, a success. And as per mentioned by our beloved Prof, may all the ilm that we acquired, we will return to Allah Ta'ala with a clean heart. Okay, all right. Okay, so with that, thank you to the Secretariat. Thank you, everyone. All the best, my dearest students. So we end our session with Tasbih Kafarah and Surah Al-As.